Welcome to MicroStrategy. My name is Michael Hoffmann and I'm working as a Senior Sales Engineer for MicroStrategy Germany. The following video is extensive and introduces the wide range of our business intelligence platform capabilities. Besides, it explains the substantial benefits for our customers compared to our competitors. This video is not a typical marketing or sales video that doesn't prove sales promises. This video provides a lot of live presentations that prove our capabilities. The video was created by me as a technical expert for the implementation of MicroStrategy Solutions. It demonstrates a lot of our unique selling points compared to our competitors in the BI market space. I was often asked about the unique selling points of MicroStrategy, and at this point I think it's more useful to talk about the reasons why our customers decided for MicroStrategy than giving a list of unspecific sales arguments. In more than 90% of the cases, the customer decision for MicroStrategy is based on the same arguments. MicroStrategy offers an extreme functional width and is maybe the most comprehensive business intelligence platform in the world. At the same time, the whole platform uses the same codebase, and MicroStrategy never tried to merge external BI products into our own product portfolio. Every single functionality is based on the same central unified metadata architecture, and this is absolutely unique in the whole market related to the extreme functional width of our product. This unique metadata layer is the basis for combining every single BI functionality into one powerful solution, and at the same time it is the basis for a central security and governance approach for the whole platform. Compared with MicroStrategy, other vendors either offer a significantly reduced functional width or an architecture with a confusing set of different toolsets that can't be combined seamlessly into one single solution based on the same set of metadata, security and governance. MicroStrategy is a chameleon, and it's based on a very modular architecture where every single piece of functionality can be seamlessly combined. With this video, I want to introduce the pillars of this unique architecture from an end-user's perspective. Before we start, just a quick note about this video. After the slide, you will see only live presentations, so that you are able to trust in our capabilities more easily. I implemented more than 95% of the solutions on my own, so that you can get an impression how efficiently MicroStrategy supports a solution designer during the implementation process without the need for programming. So I had no army of software developers or BI specialists who supported me, although the functional focus of my solutions are very different. During our journey through the MicroStrategy capabilities, I will reflect the reasons why our customers decided for MicroStrategy from time to time, so that it's easier for you to understand their standpoint and enthusiasm for our product. And now it's time to get into the world of MicroStrategy 10 with a live presentation of our capabilities. MicroStrategy provides an HTML portal and runs in a browser. The content is divided by logical projects, and you can see 3 of them in my example. Typically, a project is focused on a business perspective with related use cases. A project can host many solutions with many reports and dashboards at the same time. A public and private folder structure can be adjusted to the customer needs. An archive and subscriptions are available as well. You can use the same front end for the processes for creating and consuming analysis content. In this example, I started a dashboard from the public folder structure that I was allowed to use. Besides, I could switch to my private workspace and start an analysis from there, where this analysis is maybe based on my own uploaded Excel data. MicroStrategy is able to protect folder structures and the content in those folders on a very fine granular base. A user can only use folders and analysis content where he is allowed to. In addition to this, MicroStrategy provides a Google-like full-text search in order to find analysis content very efficiently. We will use this full-text search in order to start our own dashboard as well. So far you've seen 2 options to start MicroStrategy analyses directly from the MicroStrategy portal. But we have different options to do that as well. The following example is more advanced. It shows not a single report or dashboard that the user starts. The following example is a complex solution that consists of many different analyses that are linked to each other. We have navigation paths between the entities of our BI application, and the user is able to change his perspective on the fly. This navigation network can be adjusted perfectly to the customer demands. Some minutes ago, you saw a single dashboard that was started directly by a user from a single folder or a full-text search. Now we have a set of networked dashboards that are linked to each other, and the user navigates between them in order to fulfill his individual analysis needs. These linked dashboards are able to hand over the user analysis context in order to support a seamless 360 degrees exploration experience. And now we will look behind the scenes and find there one of the main advantages of MicroStrategy. Single analyses are defined as objects, and this is independent from the functional focus of these objects. A pixel-perfect report, a self-service ad hoc dashboard, or a simulation scenario based on a value driver tree follow the same rules. All objects use the same metadata and security architecture, and this is the basis for a seamless combination of all objects without breaks in regards to data, security, and the administration of the whole solution. And now we'll take a closer look at the analysis capabilities of MicroStrategy. We start with a typical agile dashboard that is consumed by an end user. MicroStrategy provides two kinds of dashboards. The one you see follows a dynamic front-end design and optimizes its visualizations automatically based on the screen resolutions of the user's device. This is called a responsive design approach. This is very important if you like to create and share demanding analysis within minutes without IT knowledge. You'll see later that MicroStrategy provides another dashboard approach as well. It's a pixel-perfect approach, and these dashboards are highly formatable and can be combined with good-looking graphical designs as well. Both dashboard types are based on the same unified metadata layer. The dashboard you see updates its visualizations with every single mouse click. Business coherences are calculated in memory in less than a second and are available immediately. MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine is able to address billions of rows and can use more than 300 analytical functions in order to do calculations or derive metrics and attributes on the fly. Cascaded, complex metrics can be calculated within seconds without the need to query the underlying data sources. The user is even able to define new data structures on demand. It's possible to define virtual groups of items or derived attributes that use a combination of different analytical functions of the InMemory Engine at the same time. Graphical elements, like a heat map, suits perfectly for an interactive drill down through our business coherences. The level of granularity can be defined by the user at any time. He doesn't feel trapped in the data space and can change his perspective individually. Every single element, if it's a grid or graph, can work with a relationship to each other. These rules can be defined by a dashboard designer without coding, just using drag and drop. Every single grid or graph can work as a filter object that controls other objects. Moreover, MicroStrategy's agile dashboards provide global filter panels that work against all grids or graphs at the same time, or local filters that control only specific visualizations. A filter object can control attribute values or metric values. Their definitions are done in seconds, what I will show you soon. In our example, all calculations are done in the MicroStrategy InMemory Engine, although MicroStrategy can work in a live connect modus against data sources as well. Moreover, both modes can be combined. In the following example, we take a closer look into the graphical capabilities of MicroStrategy. The graphs to the left has dual access for different metrics and is extended by attribute values automatically. Every metric has its own shape type. The user is able to slice an individual analysis context out of this graph in order to concentrate his analysis. The table to the right is updated immediately based on these graphical selections. With the undo button, the user is able to go back in his exploration path. A reverse order is possible as well. One strength of MicroStrategy is the possibility to exchange dimensions and key figures of grids and graphs on the fly. This is shown in the following example. The global filter panel to the left controls the dual-axis graph by using the regions as a selector. At the same time, the graph controls the grid on the right and works there as a local filter selector. The global filter panel controls both visualizations in our example, the graph and the grid. And now we take a closer look at the grid to the right. The three metrics from the right side of the table are calculated dynamically by MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine with every single mouse click of the user. The second metric on the left side describes the deviation of 2 successive months that can be activated by the user on the fly. We will see later that the user is able to define his own metrics based on more than 300 analytical functions of the InMemory Engine. And now we step into the world of self-defined attributes. The age groups and customer names are not part of the underlying data source. These are virtual attributes that have been defined by the dashboard designer and that have been calculated by MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine. Let me show you the definition of these age groups and customer names. As long as I have the right privileges as a dashboard designer, I'm able to define my own virtual attributes and metrics. But sometimes you want to avoid this, and in this case, the unified metadata architecture of MicroStrategy defines these objects that can't be changed. In this case, grouped elements and derived metrics are robust elements in this semantic layer that is linked to our solution. In the next example, we want to focus on some of the full text and more advanced graphical capabilities. We have already seen that graphical elements can do more than just showing data. With interactive graphical drilling, the user is able to change his analysis perspective in a graphical way on the fly. It's even possible to change dimensions and metrics of visualizations spontaneously. Graphical elements can work as a filter object that supports single value and multi-value selections in a graphical way. The full text filter does a string search, and it doesn't matter where the string is located in the attribute value. With the full text filter, you can select a single value, multiple values, or all values that are provided by the full text search results. After the full text filter limited our bubble graph, we use an enhanced functionality in order to group several items into one logical group and give it a name. The new logical group item acts like all the other attribute items, so interactive drilling is possible too. We can adjust the full text result set at any time in order to update our visualizations in less than a second. MicroStrategy is able to integrate external JavaScript-based graphs, like these three charts. With these charts, the graphical portfolio of MicroStrategy can be enhanced significantly. With these capabilities, we are able to address very specific customer needs and support visualizations that are not part of the standard MicroStrategy graph types. These external graphs interact seamlessly with MicroStrategy's metadata, and therefore it's possible to control them with standard MicroStrategy functionalities. I think you're asking yourself now, how much time do I have to invest in order to implement such agile dashboards? I will show you during the next 2 minutes how fast you can implement these advanced dashboards based on MicroStrategy's great capabilities. In our example, we use central metadata, where our quality-proofed attributes and metrics are already defined. You can find them on the left side of our browser window. As a user, we don't have to think about data sources and table structures. MicroStrategy's semantic layer with its metadata hides the complexity of database servers and confusing table structures, so that the user can just concentrate on business objectives like attributes and metrics in order to define his demanding analyses. You can always be sure that the metadata layer is secured automatically. A user can only work with attributes, metrics, and attribute values where he is allowed to. The dashboard designer uses drag and drop in order to implement visualizations. The number of visualizations and the interaction of grids and graphs is defined by this user. One important strength of MicroStrategy is related to its agile front end that can be adjusted by the user in seconds in order to follow a specific business question. In our example, we just combine a few capabilities, as long as this is just a small example. After the dashboard designer finished his dashboard, he can provide this to other users. MicroStrategy's security architecture limits functions and data content automatically. As an example, another user won't be able to derive his own metrics, change visualizations, or export data from this dashboard to Excel. At the beginning of our video, I introduced an extreme functional width of MicroStrategy. Please don't think that you saw this already. You've seen only a very small part of the MicroStrategy platform so far, and we'll leave this kind of dashboards later in order to focus on absolutely different functionalities that are not related to these agile analyses. But one important functionality is shared by all elements of the MicroStrategy product portfolio. They share the same metadata architecture, and with that they can be combined seamlessly and they can be secured by a central security approach. Maybe you think at this point that I have already prepared this demo perfectly as a part of the dashboard you've seen before. No, I didn't do that, but maybe you think so, and therefore I want to show you now how you can implement an agile self-service dashboard from scratch, based on the unified metadata architecture within minutes. Except our semantic layer, nothing is prepared in the following example. First, we start with an empty dashboard and define our data space. We have two options to work with data. With the first option, the user defines his data context by uploading his own data like an Excel spreadsheet or by connecting directly against external data sources like databases or so. MicroStrategy provides lots of different data interfaces in order to connect to an extreme wide range of data sources in the market. Different data sources and even uploaded data that comes from data files can be joined in the InMemory Engine of MicroStrategy. With the second option, the dashboard designer uses quality-proofed and secured attributes and metrics that come from the unified metadata layer of MicroStrategy. In this case, the user doesn't have to think about data sources and their locations. In the metadata layer, all of his objects have been modeled in a clear and robust manner by a business intelligence architect before. With that, you don't have the risk to compare apples with pears, and this could be the case if the dashboard designer just uses his own local Excel spreadsheets for his critical business analysis. Moreover, the whole metadata layer is secured by a central security approach, so that every single user can just use and see functions and data where he's allowed to. If a user interacts with the metadata, MicroStrategy queries the underlying database servers in order to get the data we need. This runs absolutely automatically in the background. We know our users and we know that they need freedom and flexibility in order to define their own analysis quickly. For this reason, we often hear from business people that they have been forced to use their own data because IT wasn't able to implement a central data warehouse so far. This argumentation is strong, and it's correct in most cases. For this reason, MicroStrategy provides an awesome functionality other vendors can't offer. It's possible to start with local data like Excel spreadsheets, and it's possible to switch to a robust and automatically secured metadata layer after the IT guys have been able to implement a central and robust data store like a data warehouse or so. It's possible to switch these data connections with a mouse click without the need to reinvent or to adjust our dashboards. I will show you this functionality in some minutes because I know how important these capabilities are for business people and IT. We will soon finish our small example, and what you saw right now is that a business user without IT knowledge is able to implement these dashboards within minutes. At this point, I want to mention that our current example is not based on an in-memory technology approach, but a direct connect directly against the underlying databases. Every single step in our analysis leads to a new query against the database. MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine can be used with a clear focus on the needs of our users. If you have large data volumes where you want to provide a 360-degree self-service and ad hoc impact analysis on this data volume, MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine is a great advantage compared to other technologies. And now I don't want to hide how you can upload and analyze your own local data with MicroStrategy, but I want to go a step further. I want to show you how you can link your local data with robust metadata, and how you can even replace your local data completely with metadata objects in order to use robust business objectives within an automatically secured solution. You can use the MicroStrategy portal for all these steps. The functionality is directly available as part of a dashboard. A user can combine and link data that comes from different locations on the fly as well, as long as they have common fields. In our case, we uploaded an Excel spreadsheet directly into the InMemory Engine of MicroStrategy. We can update the data with a mouse click, or automatically based on schedules. But in our example, we want to go 2 steps further. In the first step, we combine the uploaded data with robust metadata and use both of them in one analysis. In the second step, we will replace the local data completely with central metadata objects in order to enhance our data space and in order to use a quality-proof data access that runs in memory with high performance. For this reason, I defined a so-called MicroStrategy Intelligent Cube before that we will use now in our dashboard. This in-memory structure can be updated automatically based on rules, and it's based on the central metadata objects. In our current example, we linked an uploaded Excel file with a MicroStrategy Intelligent Cube that is based on central metadata. We defined an analysis where we combined both datasets in one grid in order to show that both datasets are linked to each other based on previously defined relationships. In the next step, we want to exchange the data from our Excel file completely with central metadata that runs in the same Intelligent Cube we used before. This Intelligent Cube holds some of the data warehouse in memory for a faster access. With this dialog, we can replace the attributes and metrics from our Excel file with the central metadata objects that live in our Intelligent Cube. MicroStrategy can even exchange the meanings of attributes and metrics with this process. This functionality is very important if business users need solutions quickly, while a central data warehouse is not available yet. At the same time, the IT guys can control this process and can link the analysis from business users against robust data structures later, when these structures are available based on a central data warehouse or so. And now we switch to another world of analysis types. MicroStrategy can not only provide just agile dashboards that optimize their visualizations to the screen resolution of the user's device and that suit perfectly for self-service and ad hoc analysis scenarios. MicroStrategy can also provide pixel-perfect dashboards and reports that are very important for perfectly layouted and graphical-rich management solutions that follow a corporate design. This approach is very powerful if you need to implement advanced and complex dashboard applications as well as print-perfect multi-page enterprise reports. What you see here is a pixel-perfect dashboard that runs on an iPad. The whole application consists of many different pixel-perfect dashboards that are linked to each other. In this scenario, MicroStrategy uses 7 different data sources at the same time. The design of the solution can be very specific. All components can be positioned pixel perfect, and the dashboard can be combined with transparency effects to support a very special graphical approach. In this example, I used Photoshop in order to create the background design for these dashboards. One of MicroStrategy's main advantages is the possibility to run the same solutions on different devices without the need for adjustments. Especially in the world of pixel-perfect solutions, these capabilities are very strong. For this reason, I showed you this pixel-perfect demo on iPad first, in order to surprise you with the same solution in a web browser later. It's even possible to use the same pixel-perfect objects in a print-perfect PDF file. You will see later that MicroStrategy has great capabilities to show the same pixel-perfect visualizations on different devices without the need for adjustments. At the beginning of our video, I introduced the functional width of MicroStrategy. The possibilities in the world of Pixel Perfect are very flexible, and we can do there even more than in the world of agile dashboards. Nevertheless, everything is based on the same metadata, and we don't need programming capabilities at any time. You will see later that we are able to define Pixel Perfect templates for visualizations that we can reuse all over the solution in a very easy way. With these capabilities, it is possible to align pixel-perfect dashboards and print-perfect multi-page reports to a corporate standard, and we can save a lot of time and effort during our implementations. At this point, I want to give a quick info about modular, elastic application architecture designs based on MicroStrategy. The application you see consists of many different modules that are linked to each other. They share their data context, and they can hand over a data context from one dashboard to another. Every single module or dashboard can be optimized in regards to performance. With these capabilities, we are able to create complex solutions with a very fast response time. And this is independent from the underlying database, because MicroStrategy can integrate its own in-memory technology in order to solve these challenges. And now we look at the same solution from a web browser. These are the same objects with the same metadata that we are looking at now. From the user's perspective, there are no differences between the different devices, and the customer can save a lot of time and money in the implementation of solutions which can run on several devices with no adjustments. MicroStrategy offers a native mobile app for tablets and smartphones. Other vendors often provide just an HTML application on a mobile device that is enclosed by an app. Therefore, MicroStrategy can provide a better performance and a broader functional depth on mobile devices, and with that it is, for example, possible to let the whole application run offline on an iPad without the need to lose interactive filtering capabilities or transactional support. The mobile app can be even synchronized overnight in standby mode without any user interaction. During this video, we will create side by side a small pixel-perfect dashboard that follows the same design rules. I will show you how to define graphical templates that you can reuse in several dashboards or reports. But now I want to show you how you can reuse parts of your solution in an interactive PDF file. This PDF file was generated by the same metadata objects. MicroStrategy provides two options to generate PDF files. Typically, PDF files are generated with static content, plus a central navigation structure like a table of content that is part of the file as well. The second option generates an interactive PDF file where the user is able to filter the data spontaneously based on selector controls that are integrated into the dashboards. This is the option you see in the demo right now. Furthermore, the file size of the PDF file is very small because we only need data on the aggregation levels of the visualizations. And now we change our functional perspective again and step in the world of Pixel Perfect, Print Perfect, and multi-page enterprise reports. We start with a very simple example and without graphical components. Report elements are generated automatically in a pixel-perfect way over many pages and can be converted to a PDF file with just a mouse click. Every single element has its own accurate position on our page and will be duplicated across grouping layers automatically. It depends on the browser settings if the PDF file is opened externally or as part of the browser window. In our example, I generate an explicit PDF file and open the file after it is available. Besides, it's even possible that MicroStrategy prints the report on a dedicated printer in the department. This can be configured in the metadata as well. The next example is more challenging, and we combine graphical elements with tables and text fields. Also, in this case, MicroStrategy generates a pixel-perfect positioning of reporting elements and distributes them automatically across many pages for a print-perfect PDF file. At the same time, MicroStrategy generates a kind of dynamic menu structure based on the same metadata within the PDF file, so that the user is able to navigate through the PDF content very efficiently, and even if the file has thousands of pages. MicroStrategy's PDF generation engine works so efficient that it can generate thousands of pages with thousands of grids and graphs in a few minutes. The next example will be more challenging, and we are using a briefing book where both reports from the previous examples are combined into one single object. For this process, we reused the same objects that we implemented before. Furthermore, reports can be very dynamic. Interactive selectors or prompts can reduce the amount of data in the reports on the fly if the user likes to do so. This can be done in memory without the need to requery the database. Please don't think that this briefing book is not suitable for a mobile device. This is absolutely not the case. The same briefing book can be opened on an iPad without modifications, in the same way and with full navigation capabilities. This is a very special strength of MicroStrategy and saves our customers time and money in the development of complex business intelligence solutions that must run on different devices without modifications. You saw now the exporting process from a briefing book into a pixel-perfect PDF file, with an interactive navigation structure and an additional table of content. The table of content addresses all the reports at the same time and is generated automatically. Do you remember my value proposition from the beginning of our video? I think you can understand some of my arguments right now. Which business intelligence vendor is able to provide agile self-service dashboards, pixel-perfect dashboards, as well as pixel-perfect and print-perfect enterprise reports based on the same metadata and security layer, and with only one single web-based front-end for the designers and consumers of the solutions? Before I demonstrate the process how to create pixel-perfect analyses based on templates within minutes, we take a quick look at the briefing book on our iPad that I started before in the HTML browser on my laptop. As you can see, it is exactly the same object. Furthermore, reports and dashboards can be distributed in several ways and in different formats, and this is true for mobile devices as well. MicroStrategy can provide push technologies for mobile devices so that the solution is updated automatically while the user sleeps in his bed at night. Offline capabilities are available as well, with the possibility to navigate the app in an interactive way. If you try this offline feature with MicroStrategy, it seems that the iPad is connected live to the server, but it's not. This is the advantage of a real native mobile app. MicroStrategy provides annotation capabilities in different ways. On an iPad, as an example, the user can highlight and annotate critical business coherences and send them directly via email. And now we take a closer look at how pixel-perfect analyses can be created with MicroStrategy. A central component are templates for reports and dashboards. Sometimes it's an efficient approach to define special templates for graphical visualizations that we like to reuse later. A graphical template is nothing more than a simple grid-based MicroStrategy report that was converted into a graph and modified by a designer. In order to create such a template, we need our central metadata. This metadata provides the attributes and metrics we need, as an example, to define the visualization. We can exchange data structures and metadata later if we like. But the central metadata does even more. Our graphical template acts as an object within this metadata architecture and can be reused in all pixel-perfect reports and dashboards that share the same metadata environment. You see at the moment how we create a little graphical template that is based on the metadata. For this process, we combine an attribute and a metric and select the visualization type of the graph. After that, we can adjust a lot of parameters in order to optimize the graph based on our needs. I will skip this because I just want to highlight the principles. After we finished our configuration, we save our template as an object in the central metadata, and we can reuse this object later in other reports and dashboards. Usually, a company has a corporate design with graphical templates and a color schema that was adjusted individually to the needs of the company. It's important for our customers that we can follow these design specifications. Usually, these templates address more than just the colors of graphical objects and text. In most cases, the customer wants to integrate an individual design with nice images that was developed by a designer based on Photoshop as an example. The customer wants to combine this graphical design with reports, dashboards, and applications where these objects follow corporate design rules. You've seen one example before when I showed you the corporate Navigator application that runs pixel perfect in web and mobile at the same time. MicroStrategy provides great capabilities that help us to integrate customer-specific designs into good-looking applications. In the following, you see two simple examples of a generic dashboard page and start page that can be used as an entry portal for our application. We will use both components later. And now we start the implementation of our own little pixel-perfect dashboard application, which has its own start page and is linked to other dashboards and reports. First, we use the generic dashboard template that I developed before. We will integrate our graphical analysis that developed as a reusable object into this dashboard template. We will position our graph pixel perfect with accurate coordinates. After that, we will integrate our data by using the central metadata layer. I have already prepared an intelligent cube that is based on that metadata objects. We used this intelligent cube in other examples as well. At this point, we can see again that we can reuse the same object but with a different functional focus of the application. In the following, we will integrate two selectors into our dashboard in order to provide filter functionalities to the user. With these selectors, we can control the behavior of our graph spontaneously. At this point, I want to mention that you can exchange data structures from graphical templates even if the metadata of the graphical template and the final solution is not the same. At this point, I would like to wrap up what you've seen so far, because maybe you ask yourself, why does MicroStrategy provide two options for the implementation of dashboards at the same time, although these elements are based on the same metadata objects? The dashboard type you see so far works pixel perfect and can be formatted and combined with many additional options. The graph, for example, works with transparency effects, and it would be possible to overlay several graphs at the same time in order to achieve a very specific visualization. Customers need pixel-perfect capabilities if they want to implement perfectly designed management applications, and if they want to use the same applications on mobile devices with a perfect layout as well. If you don't have these demands, and if the main focus of the application is ad hoc analysis or agile analytics, I would recommend the first dashboard option of MicroStrategy that you saw at the beginning of our video. The implementation is much faster compared to pixel-perfect dashboards and can be done within minutes by business people without IT knowledge. With agile dashboards, a business user is able to explore complex business coherences very fast because he can adjust his point of view immediately at any time. Therefore, I would always recommend to start with agile, responsive dashboards, as long as the customer doesn't need a perfectly designed solution, and if the solution is allowed to optimize its visualizations automatically based on different screen resolutions. Moreover, you can combine both options by defining navigation paths between pixel-perfect dashboards and agile, responsive dashboards. In this case, it's even possible to hand over the analysis context from the user between dashboards in order to follow a linked query flow. We make progress with our dashboard, but what's missing is a nice start page with navigation paths to other reports and dashboards. We will add these paths during the next steps. The background image from the start page was designed with the graphic program. The image has already 4 menu items that we can use for our navigation paths. In a usual solution, we would add these menu items with MicroStrategy and not with a graphical design tool in order to gain more flexibility. The dashboard has additional invisible areas that can be defined individually. These areas can be combined with navigation paths to other reports and dashboards. If the user wants to use his current analysis context in the target dashboard, this context can be transferred via a navigation path as well. We have seen this behavior several times in my example of the corporate Navigator application. With this example, I wanted to show you how MicroStrategy is able to implement complex applications by using dedicated linked modules that define the whole application as a network of single dashboards and reports. Every single dashboard or report can be designed and optimized individually. Based on this approach, we are able to implement functional rich applications with no dead ends, where the user can explore business details on demand. At this point, you've seen some main capabilities of MicroStrategy, but MicroStrategy can provide a lot more. You will see absolutely different capabilities that can be combined with all you've seen so far if you follow the video a little bit longer. Before we focus on a new functional group, I would like to show again in a quick example how to combine different analyses that have a context relationship to each other, so that the user is able to dive deeper into relevant business coherences if needed. For this demo, we used the Corporate Navigator application with its corporate dashboard again that you've seen so far. The corporate dashboard is one of many linked pixel-perfect dashboards that are part of this large application. Within this dashboard, I have the possibility to explore more detailed business coherences based on the selected business unit by handing over our analysis context to another dashboard. In this case, our target dashboard is an agile, responsive design dashboard in which the user is able to change his perspective very flexible on the fly. He would even be able to upload and join local data in order to extend his exploration capabilities. And now we focus on the automatic distribution of reports and dashboards to different recipients in different formats based on MicroStrategy's distribution services. If a user starts a report or dashboard, he can send these analyses to recipients spontaneously or in combination with schedules and events that control the distribution automatically. The user is able to configure the distribution format and distribution type. Furthermore, the central security definition controls the privileges for using these capabilities. The distribution process can use different channels like email, mobile devices, file system, FTP servers, a dedicated printer, or a user's archive. In this private archive, all reports and dashboards are pre-cached and available at the user's fingertips without the need to re-query the underlying databases. In addition to a simple distribution of analyses, MicroStrategy provides user subscriptions that can be combined with schedules or external events. In case that an external event is activated, MicroStrategy automatically starts the distribution of reports and dashboards and repeats this process if the same event is activated again. The same rules are valid for dynamic schedules. In these use cases, MicroStrategy's central metadata show their strength again. They ensure automatically that a recipient can only access and watch metadata objects as well as business content that he's allowed to access. And now we focus on a special functionality that addresses user-specific personalizations of reports and dashboards. With this functionality, a user is able to define his own favorites in order to use them on demand later with just a mouse click. These favorites are independent from the analysis types. So it doesn't matter if the user wants to personalize an agile, responsive design dashboard, a pixel-perfect dashboard, or a pixel-perfect enterprise report. This functionality is controlled by the central metadata as well. We call this functionality Personalized View, And these favorites are located on the user's start page when he opens his subscription area. You saw right now the definition of such a personalized view for an agile, responsive design dashboard that we used afterwards. In the following, we will use the same functionality for a pixel-perfect enterprise report that contains selectors by which the user is able to focus on business coherences. The selector configuration is controlled by these personalized views. And now I want to surprise you with a functional area of MicroStrategy that is not related to business intelligence at first glance. I want to introduce MicroStrategy's transaction services, by which the user is able to write back data into other databases or data stores. With MicroStrategy Transaction Services, we are able to support many different use cases, and I want to introduce some of them live. In the first example, we look at the cell-based annotation process, where we are able to analyze annotations at the same time. The data you see right now comes from the data warehouse. I added some tables to this data store in order to save annotations linked to our data warehouse data on a cell-based level, so that we are able to analyze our key figures and the corresponding annotations in parallel later. The first table shows a simple report based on our key figures. The second table shows the same rows, but only if these rows are combined with annotations. The second table grows automatically when the user adds new annotations. And now we step into another, more demanding example. In this example, we're talking about simulations that are based on a value driver tree that can be archived into a database. I implemented this example by using a pixel-perfect dashboard approach. This dashboard is one module in the architecture of the corporate Navigator application, and it is linked with other dashboards for seamless user navigation approach. In the first step, the solution copies our actual data related to a selected business unit from the data warehouse into the simulation data store. Afterwards, the manager is able to do his simulation, and MicroStrategy updates all related key figures automatically after the manager hits the update button. Every single simulation is saved into a database and can be loaded from there on demand. This example shows very well again the graphical flexibility of MicroStrategy and the pixel-perfect positioning approach of controls and graphical elements. I developed the whole design with Photoshop. The dynamic controls can be positioned with high accuracy, and they can be combined with transparency effects as well. In the last example, I want to show you some elements of a simple planning process that are combined into one seamless navigation flow. This example will not introduce an exhaustive planning solution. This example is focused on single elements that are used during the implementation of such a process. The beauty of my approach is the combination of the planning process with business intelligence analytics in real time based on our central metadata. Before we start our planning phase, we select a reference time frame dynamically based on actual data that we like to transfer into our planning data space. With a mouse click, MicroStrategy transfers data from the data warehouse into the planning data store and updates time references. This is the basis for our planning process to start with. Now we have a copy of our reference data so that we can start our planning process. The MicroStrategy Transaction Services transfer the data automatically to the new time frame that needs to be planned. I defined this transaction as part of the Transaction Services configuration. Now I change the reference values for selected rows, and after this process is finished, I update my planning data in one single step. After this step, the modified rows will disappear from my grid because the transaction services updated their status in parallel with the update of their figures. Now, a great advantage of MicroStrategy is the combination of the planning process with analytics in real time. So we can see data rows that have been planned already on the fly, and we can visualize this situation with graphical objects as well. Maybe you think at this moment that our agile dashboards match perfectly the demands of self-service ad hoc analysis on the sum of these planning processes. And you're absolutely right. You see this in our example. At this point, the central metadata is the important link between the planning processes with its transactions and the real-time analyses running in parallel at the same time. MicroStrategy provides several options for editing data in transaction services pixel-perfect dashboards. The user is able to edit its data directly in a table, for example. On the other hand, it's possible to use dedicated input controls that are positioned pixel-perfect in our dashboard. This is the most flexible and best option for a user to edit data in a very easy way. The input controls can be combined with rules in order to implement business dependencies for the edit process as well. The form to the right was combined with business rules. The user needs to enter specific values in order to save its state. Sometimes you need to show additional input controls based on values the user entered before in other controls. This is possible, as you will see during this video, and it's even possible to define cascaded input controls where the items of these controls are related in a hierarchy to each other. With this approach, the process can force the user to enter correct values in the right order. The whole process was implemented with several pixel-perfect dashboards. These dashboards are linked to each other by using navigation paths in combination with transactions. If you jump from one dashboard to another, the data context is transferred automatically. You will see later that we can start an ad hoc analysis on the sum of these processes spontaneously. With that, we are able to monitor all processes at the same time. For the monitoring, we don't need a pixel-perfect dashboard. Therefore, I implemented an agile, responsive design dashboard within minutes by using just drag and drop on the central metadata. Please remember that you don't need to program any line of code in order to use the rich feature set of MicroStrategy, although we would have powerful APIs to do so as well. Please don't think that the process steps we implemented so far have to look exactly the same or very similar in other implementations. I invented this process on my own. It's absolutely fictional. Your implementation could look completely different because MicroStrategy is like a chameleon and can be adjusted very flexible. At this point, I would like to ask you a question. Have I exaggerated at the beginning when I introduced the main arguments why our customers decided for MicroStrategy? I think that you can understand some of these arguments even now, after you've seen this extreme functional width on a single platform, where all elements can be combined seamlessly based on the same central security architecture, and where the user doesn't have to suffer with several independent front ends for different action items. And now we step into the world of metrics and look at some of the more demanding ones. We start with OLAP functions that use a window size for their calculations. These calculations are not limited to the row of the metric that we like to compute. The OLAP function uses relations to other rows in order to calculate its results. One typical function is the running sum calculation that is used for year-to-date metrics. I want to show you that you can create these kind of metrics with just some mouse clicks on the fly based on MicroStrategy's InMemory Engine and more than 300 native analytical functions. Of course, these kinds of derived in-memory metrics are only needed if the metrics are not yet part of the central metadata layer. A smart wizard supports the user in the process of defining demanding metrics. It validates the user inputs and provides recommendations for the usage of functions. You can switch between the wizard and a script editor. Metrics can be cascaded and combined with other metrics in order to derive very complex calculations. At this point, I want to focus on simple examples and the basics of the calculation engine. Complexity can be increased very fast by using the whole width of mathematical and statistical functions of the InMemory engine. In the next example, we use a conditional metric that is limited on the product category of books and use this metric in combination with another metric in order to calculate a ratio between both preceding metrics. In the following, we will check the values of the conditional metric by dragging the category attribute into our analysis grid. You can see now that this metric is calculated only on the level of the product category I mentioned before. In the next example, we are using percent to total and rank metrics. Because of the fact that users need these kinds of metrics combined with different break-by levels very often, you can activate these metrics directly from the shortcut menu in seconds. And now we have a calculation with cascaded metrics where two aggregate functions are combined on different aggregation levels. The first calculation calculates the sum of profit over regions and categories. The second calculation uses these results and calculates the average values on the level of regions. At the end, this special metric is combined with another metric in our final derived calculation. At the end, I want to take a final look at the Smart Metric Wizard, but I would always recommend to put the definition of complex metrics in the central metadata of MicroStrategy. This is the only chance to get a quality-proofed and robust layer of key figures that can be combined with a central security architecture. Of course, MicroStrategy offers Geo Analysis in different types in order to combine them with your own analyses. At this point, I just want to introduce some examples for a quick overview. MicroStrategy uses different geo providers like Esri, Google Maps, Visual Crossing and others. If the customer wants to define his own geographical areas for a graphical overlay with the map, this is possible as well. In the area of geo-analysis, MicroStrategy provides a set of standard functionality and enhanced capabilities that come with our geo partners like Esri or Visual Crossing. As an example, MicroStrategy can offer real geographical nearby analysis that run directly on the geographical map of our geo partners and that can be combined with the capabilities of MicroStrategy. Maybe you ask yourself about the effort in combining MicroStrategy with other web-based applications without using a programming approach. This can be done very easily. MicroStrategy can integrate its visualizations directly into other applications by using an iframe integration or a dedicated link. Every single report or dashboard can provide this iframe integration code or link on demand, so that it is possible to integrate MicroStrategy's visualization within minutes into other HTML portals. Furthermore, MicroStrategy can be controlled from an external application by using intelligent URLs with dynamic parameters. But MicroStrategy can do a lot more. We have interfaces to all the big portal technologies in the market, like SharePoint or SAP, in order to integrate our analyses in the best way with these technologies. In this context, we fulfill the requirements for a seamless single sign-on as well. Most of our customers are working with Microsoft Office products and wish a tight integration with MicroStrategy. This integration is possible with two options. In the first option, the user is able to export a MicroStrategy analysis directly from the web front end into Microsoft Excel, as an example, and can update the data automatically. But the second option is much more powerful. MicroStrategy provides a separate Microsoft Office plugin that integrates the capabilities of MicroStrategy directly into the world of Microsoft Office. With that, we are able to generate very complex Office documents with lots of visualizations at the same time for Word, PowerPoint and Excel automatically. This can be combined with a single sign-on mechanism, as well as dynamic filter capabilities that limit the data in the Office documents on the fly based on the user's individual context selections. If a user loves Excel on the one hand, but wants to be sure that the generation of key figures are based on robust metadata on the other hand, he will appreciate these capabilities for sure. And now I want to introduce a very important functionality of an enterprise business intelligence platform that does not use high sophisticated graphical capabilities, but provides a lot of benefit and is therefore a showstopper for many customers during a BI evaluation process. I want to introduce alerting capabilities, and that means that users are notified automatically by the business intelligence tool if critical situations like a sales slump occur. Based on the central metadata, the user is able to define his own critical situations within minutes based on a simple grid. Usually, the user defines thresholds for specific metrics that describe the critical situation. For this reason, graphical thresholds and alerting is often combined. I'm using the same approach in our example for an alert that is based on a deviation of profit margin for selected regions. In our example, I define my reporting context and the threshold first. That highlights the critical situation in my report. After that, I will derive and activate my alerting based on this threshold definition, and I will combine this definition with a schedule, so that the calculation for the alerting is done again and again automatically. If the critical situation occurs, MicroStrategy notifies the user automatically per email or other distribution channels. I had several POCs in the past where these capabilities have been a showstopper for the customer. The reason for this importance is quite simple. It's good to have reports and dashboards that provide us the possibility to understand critical business coherences on demand. But it's much better if the BI product is so intelligent that it notifies us proactively if a critical situation or a great business chance occurs right now. This can save the customer a lot of time and money. MicroStrategy is able to distribute additional context-specific reports and dashboards to the user automatically if the alerting context is activated. An important basis for these capabilities is the unified metadata architecture of MicroStrategy again. Without this, it wouldn't be possible for a user to define his individual alerting processes within minutes on his own. At this point, I want to mention some explanations about the usage of schedules that can be combined with alerting processes as well. The administration is able to define schedules that are part of the unified metadata architecture of MicroStrategy. As an example, a schedule could be every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. Alerting, but also the general distribution processes can be combined with these schedules. If schedules are changed in the central metadata, every single linked distribution process is updated automatically. Besides schedules, MicroStrategy provides the usage of external events as well. These can be combined with alerting and general distribution processes in the same way as schedules. You've seen a lot of capabilities right now, and we're going to reach the end of my live presentations. But before we end, I want to show you a real cool new capability of MicroStrategy 10 that can be very useful for customers who want to start small, without the need to install the whole MicroStrategy Enterprise platform in the first step. The new product, called MicroStrategy Desktop, is an application that is installed locally on a user's laptop or desktop. It offers the same capabilities you've seen at the beginning of this video in regards to agile, responsive design dashboards that support perfectly the demands of business users without IT skills. Self-service and visual ad hoc data exploration scenarios are typical use cases that are supported as well. I won't show you a demo of these capabilities as the functionality is the same compared to what you've seen at the beginning of this video. Local data and external data sources can be combined based on in-memory technologies too. A very special capability, also available in the enterprise platform, is data wrangling, a kind of intelligent data cleaning mechanism that can be combined with rules the user defines. In our very easy example, I optimized the names of regions and define a derived attribute with only 3 characters based on the region's items. Data wrangling provides different functional areas in order to clean inconsistent data. The definition of a cleaning process can be saved and reused. You can work with data wrangling not only against uploaded Excel or CSV files. Data wrangling supports databases as well. Let's assume you want to start small with MicroStrategy Desktop. You produce a lot of great dashboards and visualizations in the first step. Maybe later you want to switch to the enterprise platform in order to leverage the whole product portfolio, but you don't want to invent all your analyses again. From your point of view, the best option would be to exchange your local data with central metadata that is based on a central data store and in combination with a central security approach easily. And that is absolutely possible and can be done in minutes with MicroStrategy, so that the customer is able to leverage his investments most efficiently. So the MicroStrategy Desktop application is not an isolated tool. It can work in offline and online mode against a central MicroStrategy server and a central metadata layer at the same time. At this point, we reached the end of my live demos. I think you saw that the capabilities of MicroStrategy are enormous and underline the consistent, independent development of our platform without compromises for more than 25 years. Let's look again together on why our customers have chosen MicroStrategy. I think you can understand now that the enormous functionality of our platform, based on the central metadata architecture, provides great advantages, through which our customers can save high cost and time expenditures in the implementation of their individual solutions. At the same time, a fragmentation of the solution landscape through the use of different BI tools in parallel can be avoided. With this video, I could give you only a concentrated overview of our platform as part of my live presentations. Many other features, like our native R analytics interface, as well as the capabilities of data mining, remained unmentioned. In addition, MicroStrategy can offer many additional unique selling points in the market if the requirements must be aligned to the integration of our platform in the complex IT architecture of our customers. And this includes not only high-security authentication methods, which must, for example, combine a two-factor authentication with biometrics capabilities using mobile devices. This involves, for example, also customer scenarios where complex solutions synchronized across multiple sites and with automatic integrity tests must be subjected. You've seen that this video was not a typical sales or marketing video. I wanted to introduce no pretty colorful slides and video sequences that provide no evidence. I wanted to show you with this live presentation where the benefits are, so that you can gain a better understanding of our capabilities. You could take me at my word and invite me or my friends from the MicroStrategy Sales Engineering team in order to make a deep dive in regards to one of the examples you've seen before. We will show you the unique power of MicroStrategy focused on your individual needs. And now I want to thank you for your attention during our journey through MicroStrategy's capabilities. There are, of course, many other topics or details in which it would be worthwhile to go deeper. For this reason, more videos will follow, looking at the one or other topic in greater detail. Please look into the description text of this video, where additional links will be found to further videos. It was a pleasure for me to share my enthusiasm about the outstanding capabilities of MicroStrategy with you. Thanks again for your time, and I wish you all the best. Bye.